Hello everyone, welcome to another ApplePie TableTalk. Today we are here with Carla Cohen, the founder of Essential Harmony. Thank you, Carla, for being on our show.
Well, thanks for having me.
So what's the name of the book that you wrote?
It's called The 10-Minute Face.
Okay, what's that about? 10-minute face. You have 10 minutes to have a face.
That's it. You have 10 minutes.
Or is it you can paint your face in 10 minutes and look gorgeous?
So the book, it's what happened was I was doing some classes and for a new makeup line that I had discovered. And I realized that when I was sitting around talking and there were like 10 or 12 women at the table, and there was this organic discussion that developed. And I realized that there's a lot of women out there, myself included, who are very insecure about makeup. A lot of sensitivities to makeup. I used a lot of brands that are organic and this and that. It's supposed to be awesome and clean. And what I was finding is that within a certain period of time, my eyelids would swell up. You know, I was having reactions. And when I looked around the table, there were some of them they looked really confident. I mean, they had well done makeup. They had their hair all perfect. And as I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning saying, you know what, I need to write a book about this topic. So I basically went through some of the nutritional things that interfere with making your skin, things that make your skin age or that mess up your hormones.
Do tell.
It's on the book. You can go to the10minuteface.com. It's the number 10. minuteface.com. But people who have allergies, asthma, acne, a lot of those things are caused by something called a phthalate. It's a chemical thing that creates a smell in your personal care products. It's in pretty much every laundry detergent, every dish soap. So fixing your diet, getting rid of some of the foods that can cause your skin to age.
So what are some of the worst foods, aside from alcohol? We all know alcohol is bad for you,
Sugar.
but aside from that, really? Okay, so can you use raw sugar?
Doesn't matter, sugar.
So any type of sugar is going to be.
Yeah.
What about monk fruit? Can you replace monk fruit with sugar?
Monk fruit's okay.
That's kind of what I've heard, but
it's a little harder. I mean, if you're a baker and you're an awesome baker.
Oh, thank you.
But monk fruit's a little harder to bake with. It does change the texture a little bit on some of I've noticed that on some of my cakes and things like that. But so switching over that, adding raw, green, pressed, organic juice every day to your diet, very important. So I talk about it's not just it's all related to having your appearance look good, but it's from the inside out. So I don't talk a little bit about emotional toxins, but very little there. If you look at most of the organic lines of products out there, and they will tell you what is not in their product. Don't tell you is what it does contain. And that's the most important thing. Same as
for instance, with hair conditioner, we all know we don't want sulfates in our hair conditioner.
Right.
But are there other things? And there is no listing out there of the ingredients that we don't want in our makeup or in our grooming products. So that actually would be very helpful and beneficial. So is that on your website as well, or is that a separate website?
It's a separate website for 10-Minute Face. Like I said, it's and then the number 10minuteface.com. But you can also, for now at least, the book's still on Amazon. I'm not sure for how much longer. I'm going to keep it there. But anyway, and I got really good feedback from women who've read it. They said it really helped them a lot. And some women have created study groups around it to help each other. So they literally take a chapter, at a meeting and then have a conversation about what they learned and go on to the next thing.
Oh, how interesting!
It's like Bible study. So probably make some people's hair stand on it. That's what it is. And
it's a book club basically.
Yeah. But what's kind of funny about it, and I love to tell this, is because I'm so not into makeup. So for me to have written the book is kind of like an oxymoron. Not now. I used to have to wear it when I was in Hollywood, but for so many years in the healing arts, not really necessary, didn't really wear it. And again, I was having so many allergic reactions, I finally just gave up.
And I think a lot of women are in that boat. I know one of my aunts had that problem where she had to stop wearing mascara and couldn't wear eyeshadow because it just made her eyes water, and then she couldn't drive to church because her eyes water in the whole.
Yeah, well, there's some really bad stuff here. And again, it's about 15 years ago I was teaching about this stuff. It wasn't on anybody's radar. And the amount of lead that's in red lipsticks.
And why do they put lead in?
Hello, right? Exactly. And we're eating it. You know what I mean? Like I said, it can be allergies. It can be causing dermatitis. It can be causing asthma. These are just a few of the things that, are some of the side effects of and people don't realize it's related to their makeup.
It's insane what they do to women.
Yeah. And we go for it.
Because we're socialized from little girls, I mean, we're given dress up kits. We have dress up day. We play mommy. We have play makeup before we're allowed to wear real makeup. It's something that we're socialized across all cultures pretty much to do as women, as it's expected of us. Or you hit on emotional toxins. I've not heard of that. Now, is that the same as a trapped emotion or a trapped feeling, or what is an emotional toxin from your background?
Well, when I refer to it, it's a couple of things. It's a kind of a big basket, but it can be a trapped emotion. It can be that there's certain people that you are around and you know that you don't feel good when they leave, or maybe when you're in their presence, because maybe they're needy, or maybe they're controlling, or
maybe you can't even pinpoint it, but
it's a kind of an emotional toxicity. So, I think that ultimately the goal is for us to all be at a place where we can be accepting of everybody, and not, again, I don't want to put people into the victim consciousness, because it's so easy for people to go, oh yeah, their energy did this to me, and it's like, no, what happens is, it's going back to the conversation earlier. I think we talked, maybe I didn't mention it, but every emotion has a frequency. So fear has a frequency, love has a frequency. A healthy body is between 68 and 72 hertz. So when we start to drop down to like 50 hertz, we have symptoms, and at 25 hertz, we actually die. So what you want to, there are things you can do to raise your frequency, not just some of these personal care habits I was talking about. I work with essential oils. That's a lot of people know me as an essential oils expert. So, but there are certain essential oils you can use to actually raise your vibratory rate, raise your frequency. But also, as you raise those people that are a more denser, they're dense energetically. It's just naturally that it's not like a victim you want to avoid them. It's more like, I'm just not attracted, I'm not resonating at that frequency, so I'm resonating with people at this frequency.
So if we feel kind of a negative emotion or experience when we're around something, we can't necessarily pinpoint why we know we feel worse or your energy after spending time with someone. Is that because the psychic vampire? Why is that? How is it that
the answer is it depends. It's not like first of all, I'll just say, it's a funny term, energetic vampire.
I know.
I try to not use it. Again, to me, that is a kind of a victim consciousness. It's like, you're being sucked on by cells. Well,
because most people aren't going around thinking, I'm going to,
And honestly, it's your decision but part of what might be pulling you down is when you, and I'm not saying this is always the case, because there's, like I said, it really depends. It could be that you have that resonating emotion that's dominant in you, and that's the thing that's repelling you the most. So again,
it's a mirror.
It's a mirror,
and a scene mirror showing you.
Yeah, right. It's the old, one pointed at them and three back at you. It could be that the person really is, they've just got so much. I was thinking, there's somebody. I can't think of the person right now, but when you were saying that, it comes to mind, and I was like, this woman she just was like dense. I felt like there was so much denseness around her, and so me. It was easier for me to remove myself from that situation, not because she did anything to me, or you know what I mean. But
not everybody seems to be a bad person, but we just know the energy isn't.
But it's a density. That's how I experience it in my body. Like, okay, because most people have lots of space. We have lots of space in our body. There's certain things that will compress the energy, and it makes the energy feel heavier. That heaviness is what exactly is the thing that makes you tired. So, but what is that? What's the source of that? So it's not really about being whatever, it's or about.
Sometimes I don't feel necessarily a heavy presence, and sometimes I don't feel that the person themselves necessarily are bad. I just, the only thing that I notice after having spent time with them is that my energy feels lower. I feel tired, and I feel that I need to go meditate. I just notice I don't necessarily want to interact with them.
Yeah, it takes energy to be around other people, period. So sometimes you just have to shut off. Like if you're having to use a lot of your mental energy to sustain it, to be in this person's presence, not any reflection on them or you, it's just what it is. And then you maybe need to go and shut down. I have a practice I do every morning, and it's probably an hour long of prayer and meditation. And that's where I start my day, in that place, right? And sometimes for me, it'll be like, okay, you know what? I need to just unplug. Right?
I'm not talking about those instances. I'm talking about the instances where it's people, certain people that we spend time around that notice consistently after having interactions with them. Okay. You know, we're tired, we need to recharge. You know, maybe I've had instances where I come into that environment and I'm super high off of other things I've done throughout the day or others that have happened, and I'm super inspired and in a creative vein. And then after having a conversation or action with certain people, you know, afterwards, then I just feel drained.
Yeah, so that's probably a situation where there's a, you know, I'll call it a degree of emotional toxicity that's not supportive to where you're at right now. But again, it could be that there's a resonance with you in a place that's heavier for you that you're not ready to look at yet. Not saying that's true. I'm just saying.
Well, no, and because people are mirrors, and things that we don't like in ourselves do show up in other people, and you know, and certain times with people, it's not that there is anything I even recognize in them that I don't like about them.
I feel that for me, it's a person that I just will make a choice not to spend time with right now.
Or have you ever had that change where maybe something in your life changes and then maybe they were a reflective mirror to you that you weren't able to see it and that's why you were drained, and you elevate or transform and then later you're able to be around them?
I do know just from my work with so many bodies that is very possible. So there was a guy who, he was referred by another, most of my clients come to me by referral. Mm-hmm. And this guy is the boss of a client who loves me, right? And but and I didn't know who it was, I didn't know it was his boss. Okay, I just knew it was a guy. So when the guy called me, and I was like, whoa, the energy was so dense, and I knew that for me, that was not somebody I wanted to work on, just because what I felt over the phone. And it wasn't like it was, oh, it's so bad. It was just like, oh, that's too heavy. I just didn't think it was going to be I didn't think he was a match for me, you know, and you kind of know who you're supposed to be working with and all. Right. So, and so
because generally you feel uplifted after you've healed somebody or worked with somebody. At least for me, I personally do.
I'm high and happy. I'm high and happy most of the time. But anyway, in that case, you know, my choice was to either let the guy come in for a session or try to refer him to another person who I felt might be a better match. And of course, you know, I tried that, and he wouldn't be discouraged. He really wanted to come in because his employee had told him he needed to come to me. It was very interesting. And of course, the session, it was one of the few times where I felt like, wow, I was completely and utterly exhausted because he was so dense that he couldn't receive. You know, there was it was basically whatever I was giving out was coming back. And I think that's the case in those kind of relationships, that person that you feel drained by, they can't receive what you have to give, right? And they don't necessarily have something for you yet at this point in time. But you're coming in there because you're a giver. I already can see that about you. So you go in and you're giving, and then it's bouncing back, and that's exhausting. So it could be something that simple.
Actually, that does make sense that somehow they're blocked, because as you were describing the client and working with the client, I'm reviewing people I've worked with, and when I'm doing healing work, normally I feel that flow because that person is receiving, and in Christianity we would call it, you know, pulling from the Spirit, pulling from the anointing, when the Holy Spirit would come into a meeting that I'm leading, right? And you feel that, you just feel the Spirit flowing through you to the people that you're working with. And it's a very elevating, uplifting experience where normally I feel so heavenly after I've, you know, worked with someone for energetic healing. But every once in a while there are people, you're trying to give them that love and that light, and you're just wondering, well, I've drawn it in, why isn't it going, you know, and that has to be it, because they're blocked off.
It's the same thing with certain relationships. I'm going to guess that you've had at least the experience once in your life, and probably than that, where you went to communicate with somebody something that you felt was super, super important, or you needed to communicate something that was really important to you, right? But you either knew that, A, I'm not going to talk to this person about this because I know they can't receive it, right? I mean, can you relate to what I'm saying? You know? So it's the same thing, only it's on an energetic level. It's like, because what happens when you talk to somebody can't hear you or can't receive what you're saying, what do you feel? You feel exhausted and frustrated. Just the effort of trying to communicate that with that person, that frustration and not being able to get it received. Now what happens to your vibratory rate? You know, you just went down. You just dropped about 30 points, right? Instead, if they'd received it, what would have happened? You would have both been uplifted.
Right.
So because that's the way it's really supposed to work. Where we, you know, are our trapped emotion, our unconscious limiting thoughts that we have, our prejudices that we came into either by inheritance through sperm or genetics or by influence around in our neighborhood. It's cut us off. Mm-hmm. So now, nobody's elevating anybody. People are not elevating each other.
Right. Actually, my experience with that I came to the conclusion, nobody's going to change until they are ready to change. It doesn't matter how powerful of an energetic worker you are. Right. It doesn't matter what of transformational concepts you can offer or an amazing person you are. If somebody isn't ready to receive what you have to offer and they're not willing to change and receive that and open up to you, then it's just a no-go for what you're trying to offer. Even what I want to do right now, I'm offering Instagram TV packages and content creation because I want to program a social justice algorithm. So I know specifically for clients that I am looking for, they just want somebody that will create something beautiful for them, give them a presence, and then contribute to somebody who's trying to do good in the world. I know that's the specific client I'm looking for because somebody who wants to nitpick on this design and that design, but I need to move on to the next because I need to have a network for the algorithm to work with. So this is just a small part of what I'm doing in the bigger scope, but that's why I can't expect anybody to change their business platform or their way overall being and interacting with people for me. So I just know, okay, I need clients, but I will turn down people willing to pay me because I know it's not the right fit for where I want to go, and that drain might drag me down from what is my purpose. And my purpose is more so these talks than actually creating social media posts for people. Right. It's more so a way for me to make some money and hopefully, create this social justice algorithm. I believe that we're programming the future of humanity right now. And people say in about 20 years, man and machine are going to be forever merged. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if we are programming this and we have so many people not involved in social media or indifferent of the silence of their voices is not contributing to what's being programmed, then in 20 years, when we don't have a choice to be merged with machines, what is programmed, they will not have participated in that. I don't want to live in the world that's being created in social media right now. I know that at least I've had a contributing factor and I have vocalized my opinion of where I want to go by creating a connective web with people who believe and see the world as I do and want to make the world be a better place. Mm-hmm. Why, in your opinion, do you see that humanity can change? What steps can we take to create and program a better world?
It's about just be kind to the next person, each person that you run into. Because your kindness to them and your thoughtfulness and your presence can make the difference in somebody choosing to stay on this planet or leave. Somebody who maybe was depressed and suicidal, you don't even know, right? So being kind to them and being kind to them will spread kind to the next person and the next person and the next person. So just take a moment instead of being reactive. See if you can challenge yourself to respond and be present for the next person.
So being present, being present so you can be responsive. Yeah. And then when you're responsive, choose to be responsive with kindness. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the interview. Your spirit and your joy is it's beautiful. So hopefully people will connect with you from this show and this experience. It'll broaden your audience and receive some more clients, I hope.
That'd be great. You can email me at carlacohenlifestyle@gmail.com. That's CarlaCohen lifestyle@gmail.com. It's the easiest way. All right. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another ApplePie Table Talk, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.